What is up, guys? It is Cordy19 and today we are playing MXGP Pro, and I am going to go through bike setup with you guys and how to set up your bike, what you're having trouble with, what can fix it. Alright, so first off, let's just go through the it's five, I can count right, the five major components that go into bike setup. So we have the suspension, gear ratios, the braking response and accelerator mapping, and then your wheelbase. So suspension, that's self-explanatory, it's how your suspension is. Gear ratio, it's whether you want long gears or short gears. If you want more top speed or more acceleration. You typically want more top speed for the lower gears, in the middle for third and fourth, and then shorter for fifth, or if you're on 125, KTM 125, sixth. You want them shorter, just so you can click through those gears more. Brake response and accelerator mapping, it's basically like engine mapping and like how hard you want to accelerate, how hard you want to brake. Right now I haven't really dabbled in those, I just have it at modular. So like just to show you, like modular aggressive, you have two options. I haven't had any like real big need for the aggressive, so I haven't tried it out yet, but once I do, I'll probably update the video and make a new one just so you guys can know. Wheelbase, you want it at long. Right now I have it at the default settings, so right now you want it at long. You don't want it short, because what's the question? What's the thing that everyone has trouble with in this game? It's their back end sliding out and turns way too easily. So it's set to intermediate. Longer, you're gonna have more control going through the skidding, the sliding, the power sliding, I guess you could call it. Because it says with a longer wheelbase, the bike has greater stability, making it less responsive and agile on bends. So you want it more stable through that corner, because let's face it, you're still going to be able to make it through the turn. They're not going to make it unplayable, and even if you're having troubles going through the turns, that's what our suspension is for. But before we get into the suspension, we're going to just quickly go through the gear ratios. So I typically have it just a little bit faster, a little bit more top speed than acceleration. But so for the overall bike, I have a little bit more towards the top speed, because especially at the starts, if you guys have noticed, you just get complete wheel spin. So first gear, you have it like all the way, literally all the way. Second gear, twice. Third gear, you can leave it how it is. You can make it one taller or one shorter if you want. I leave it how it is. Same with fourth gear. And fifth gear, I put it down one, just so that like you can hear it while going, especially in the sand. You can hear the bike getting dragged down by the sand, so you want to make it a little bit shorter of a gear, and that's what I have. That's what I'm comfortable with. You guys can have it differently, but that's what I have. Suspension, this is where we get into our bread and butter. So just to go over everything, you have the preload, everything about the forks. God dang, I keep on putting down. Forks with compression extension, the shock with a compression extension, and then your springs. So just to go through it all, the preload, making it lighter, so it's a little backwards to me. Like for preload, like at first thought I would think plus would make it higher up and minus would make it lower down, but it's the opposite. Lower makes it higher up because it makes it softer of a preload, or harder of a preload, I guess. So yeah, but with a lighter preload, making it minus, makes the bike more agile and suited for a regular terrain and tracks with lots of bends. So what that means is that the bike is higher up in the stroke, so it can absorb more of those hits. So You want it for like rough tracks like Valkensward or Lyon or any of those tracks where it's really turny too, so that the suspension can soak it up and make it better for you. On the opposite end, more plus side preload makes it lower in compression, makes it better for smooth and fast tracks, because when it's squatted down like that, it can make those turns at high speeds more easily. So if you're at a track that's in between, you want it in between, basically. Now forks. With the forks and shocks, you have high and low speed compression and extension. Each one does stuff a little bit differently. For the forks, both the low speeds do the same exact thing. So both the low speed compression and extension, when it's more minus, it makes the bike unstable on fast stretches and great at cornering, while at plus values, the bike is unstable at slow stretches and poor at cornering. So me personally, I have these at lower settings almost always, because even at the high speed tracks, I don't feel unstable at all. The high speed compression, when it's at minus, the fork absorbs large holes and dips well, but can bounce and destabilize the bike. Useful for tracks with small jumps, while at the higher values, the fork struggles to absorb dips, useful for tracks with high jumps. So what this means is that for a softer setting, when you're going through a track that's really rough, it'll absorb those bumps very well. Think of Valkensward, like going down those straightaways or the downhills. It'll absorb those bumps, or anything with like whoops, kind of like Qatar with the whoops, but the rest of the track is very smooth. So you would actually want it stiffer at Qatar, but lighter at Valkensward. Same thing with the high-speed extension. It does the exact same thing as the compression, so let's move on. The shock absorber, the low speed compression and extension, I believe, are the same. Yep. So at minus, the bike has low grip while exiting bends, and the rear end tends to rise up, diminishing grip and traction. So, and then plus it's more precise skidding but less reactive. I always have this and this pretty high up, because I don't even know why I don't have them full, because like you want grip and traction, right? So put it up. Like who the hell would ever need the value to be at the left end? Never. You always want grip and traction. Like the bike feels very responsive still. High speed compression. Whew, this is a mouthful. The minus values, the bike absorbs. Okay, so the high speed compression extension is the exact same as the high speed compression extension for the forks. The only difference is it's now the back end that is reacting this way instead of the front end. So for me, I like my preference, even riding in real life, is a stiffer front end, and then a more plush back end, so that the back end can kind of like absorb some stuff. I want the extension, the high speed extension, to be a little stiffer, just so that once it gets down into the stroke, it doesn't like just bottom out. But like I want it still plush for going over those bumps. So springs, both the front and the rear do the same stuff. Mine setting, more predictable, fluid manner, increasing the load transfer, improving control, but makes it less reactive. Stiffer spring, precise response spike is obtained, allowing greater responsiveness but diminishing control. So this is what I was just saying with a stiffer front and a lighter rear. That's what I prefer. I think I still have the front end a little bit less stiff, softer, but I just go a little bit more in the rear. That's just my preference, because it'll make it so that I do the same thing with the preload. It makes it so that the bike kind of well, actually it would be the opposite for here, but it makes the bike kind of angled upwards so it can kind of drive through those bumps so much easier. So believe that's about, and bike setup management, that's just where you can save all your different setups. You can save a shit ton. But that's all I have for you guys today. If I missed anything, ask me in the comment section below. Drop a like on the video, smash that subscribe button for more videos like this. See you guys next time. Cordy19 out.